What's up, guys? This is Rabia, and you are listening to the Bronco Rants. Welcome to the second episode of the season 2. I'm so glad you're here. If you're listening this on a Monday, you got this. We got this together. We all got this collectively, and we'll get through this week and we'll have a nice weekend. I am recording this on a Sunday, and I cannot even tell you, like, I am miserable. I do not want the Monday to come. Last week was very, like, exciting for me because I was like, okay, I went out with my friends. I had a really nice day. I did a half day leave on Thursday. It was just so fun. And then there was just one Friday. The first 3 days, I was just excited for the half day leave, and then the only day left was Friday, so I went through the whole Friday, and then the weekend was here. Like, and I don't know, there's nothing to look forward to this week. I hope I find something, and I am just not excited. I am miserable. But anyways, we'll go through this. It would be great, and we'll have a lot of fun, and we need to keep the positive vibes alive. Now, for today's topic, we'll jump literally right into it. It's about how to have a nicer communication, how to talk to literally anyone, how to talk to a person you're meeting for the first time ever, and how to just not be awkward, and how to know what you want to talk to the other person. Because sometimes we just don't know. Okay, we met this person, we are like, okay, what do I say? And it's awkward. So I'm gonna talk about all of that in this podcast, and I hope it's an interesting episode for you. I hope you learned something out of it. I hope it just helps you in any way. But if even if it does not, I just hope it's like entertaining for you, and it's just interesting for you. So thank you so much for tuning in for this episode, and I hope that you won't regret it. Now, how did I get the idea of making this episode? So, in the past like few months, as you all know, I started an on-site job, which means I go out and meet people every single day, and sometimes I meet new people. And I realized that I have gone really better in communicating with people. Like whenever I meet someone new, I just go back and feel like, okay, I did a good job. I had a good conversation with them. It's nice. And I got this compliment from 2 3 people in the past like few months, that they really don't talk a lot, but whenever they are with me, they want to talk, and they open up, and they talk, and they always talk. So I take it as a compliment, and I think with time I learned there are a few things that I learned and I added in the conversation I have with people, that helped me in having a better conversation with people and giving the other person that impression that I am interested in them, and that thing makes them like you, and it could develop into a friendship, and it could just build a strong network for you. If we are talking about professionally or personally, you can just find a great friend or someone. It's just good to have a good conversation with someone for me, and I just enjoy it so much, and I think I have gone really 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 better at it, and I enjoy having conversation with people. I am not awkward or afraid to meet a new person, and I know what to talk with what person, and I can start a conversation easily. And I think there are a few things that you need to add, or you need to like learn, and it would help you. Now, here's the thing. Is this is this a skill? We often ask this. Is this something that could help me professionally? Is it considered as a skill? Now, having a great communication is definitely a skill. When you are interviewing, they definitely see the way you communicate. But having a conversation with someone and communicating on a professional level are two different things. On a job interview, or on your professional life, or in a class, you are mostly communicating about the stuff you are like studying, and professional life and serious stuff. It's not about your personal life. But at the same time, sometimes especially if you're in an interview, or you're a teacher, or you're a mentor for someone, incorporating your personal experience in the professional thing turns great. Like, you have a teacher, or okay, you have two teachers एक वो टीचर है जो क्लास में आता है और बस सीधी सीधी सब्जेक्ट की बातें करके चले जाते हैं. For you it's a dry subject, but a teacher comes in and they add like their personal life experiences to it. They tell stories about themselves, but at the same time they're also really good at the subject they're teaching. You like that teacher more. That teacher becomes memorable. So I think, and similarly, if I'm giving an interview and we are going really okay, and it's going really well, and I'm giving okay, personally this helped for me, and they ask you about your hobbies outside the career as well. So I think if you are good at talking, it does help you in getting that job. For me personally, I think I really felt, because this is my first on-site job, when I gave interview and then when I got the job and I went to the job place and met my other colleagues, I realized that, and I told them too, that I realized that that having a good communication was their requirement, and some people do see that. So, but obviously there are two different things. Being confident in what you say professionally is different with the topic that I am going to talk about today, but you can incorporate these things into it, and it can make you look like, it can make you just more like approachable and inspirational, and someone the other person could trust, and also like a good candidate. I think yes, it is not like a direct skill, being able to talk to anyone or have as being able to start a conversation with anyone, but at the same time, if you incorporate it with your good communication skills, which is a different thing for if you're talking about at a professional level, so it could just turn out to be amazing, and it could be a skill for you and be a positive like thing for you, be something that you could like. For me, I think it's like one of my best thing that I could offer, like a best thing I could present or I could tell. Or everyone have their own talents, and it's okay, and this is a talent that this is not even a talent, this is something that you can totally work on and build. So it's not something that is like really hard or something. I think people have better talents which I have no idea how to do. So this is something that you can literally learn, and you learn with time as well. You learn with the people around you, with the environment you're in. So it just depends on everything, but at the same time you can work on it on yourself as well. So yes, now there's a question: is it necessary? I do not think it is necessary. There are a lot of people who are introvert, who do not like talking to every single person, and that is okay. If you do not want to talk to a stranger or a person you just met, if you do not feel the need to talk to the person who's sitting next to you in a bus or in a car or in an airport or in your office, you do not have to do it. Okay? Or for me, I enjoy having good conversation and I enjoy talking to people. A lot of people do not, and that is completely fine, and it's not necessary to zabardasti learn the skill if it's not something you're comfortable with. So if this is something, you do not have to do it. It's not something that I feel is necessary. If you want to do it, or you feel ke this is something that you are comfortable in, or you feel like you're not just you're not, I don't know how to explain it, but you just want to improve on it or something, then obviously you can like listen to this podcast and learn the skill. But at the same time, if you feel like you don't want to talk to I have a lot of friends who are not interested in talking to anyone, and that is completely fine. Literally, it's okay. It is not necessary. Like आपको जबरदस्ती एक चीज करने की जरूरत नहीं है जिसका आपको करने का दिल ना चाहे, ठीक है? But if you want to be more social, or you want to build a network, or you want to know more people in personal or professional capacity, then it is necessary. Networking is really important in like personal and professional life. I think there's a lot of things. Obviously, we are trying to be self-sufficient and we are trying to learn a lot of things, but it's nicer to like get to know people and to know they're good in, and maybe sometime in the future you can ask their advice or take their help, and they would be willing to help you. So इस तरह मतलब कि having this conversation with people or talking to someone builds your network, and it is important to have a network. So if you are interested in like just being more social, like if you're in university and there's a lot of people and you just want to know people of different department, people outside your class, it मतलब कि you can do it. If you want to like in your office, if you want to like have a better like relationship, not relationship, better better um better relation, not relation, better, I don't know, better understanding with your colleagues or anyone. You can like all these things, like whatever I'm about to tell, it could help in it could help in these things. What was this accent? Or it could help you to develop a network. So I hope it is understandable. And also I think it also just when you're in a room and you're like interest मतलब कि talking to someone or you start a conversation with someone, sometimes it just brings a sense of kindness and being genuine to the other person, that just a bit more like professional or non-professional or in university, you're just like asking someone how are you, or are you okay, or are you fine now. If someone is sick, so you can ask them कि, oh okay, get well sooner, are you fine now. It's just like it just brings a मतलब कि kindness and more being more genuine. And as a person we need to do it. And there's a very good friend of mine who made this post that yes, we need to be like sufficient or on our own, and we need to like be able to be on our own, but at the same time we are sent on this earth with people. We have to live with people. We need people. Human needs human. Sometimes someone owes you an apology if they do something wrong. Sometimes they owe you their kindness, ke they can like greet you nicely or smile to you. So sometimes all these things just make the world a better place. So obviously as a human we are going to a place where there are a lot of people. So it is important just to like bring some kindness and some like care to the table. And by having a good conversation with someone, you can achieve that. That's like you don't have to like do something like physically or give some or help someone just financially. Just like just greeting someone nicely is also sometimes enough to make this world a better place, make the environment more kind. Okay, I hope this makes sense. So these are all the things that explains why I'm making this podcast episode at the first place, and why do I feel like it is an important topic, and why I should talk about it, right? So I hope those things explain well. Let's jump into the topic, and we're gonna start from the start. And another thing I would like to mention is that I have been working on this episode since the past 2 months. So every time a point will come up in my mind, I'll write it down, and I rearranged it last night, and now I'm speaking on it. I'm really excited to talk about it because I think I literally wrote every single possibility ever since I was working on it since the past 2 months, and a lot of things came up to my mind and I wrote it down. So let's start from the start, from zero. So suppose you are sitting in a bus or any public place, or are you are at your work and there's a person sitting right next to you. You're in a bus and it's a long journey, you're going to another city, and there's a person sitting right next to you. Or you are in a meetup and where there are people you don't necessarily know, but your parents are like involved. Maybe you're meeting like your family friends kids, and आपकी उनसे इतनी अच्छी दोस्ती नहीं है. You're just meeting them like for the second time in your life, and your parents are आपस में like sugar लगा रहे हैं, and the kids are like, okay, what do we do? So like you're in a place and there's a person sitting right next to you that you don't know, but you want to talk to them or start a conversation with them. You feel that it's very awkward and you just want to start a conversation with them, and you're like, okay, maybe matlab it's nice and we can like get something out of it. For me, I travel on carpool. No, I don't travel on a carpool. It's not a transport. I travel through carpooling. So there's a lot of people there and a lot of people that I don't know. So I last week I had like my first day with a new carpool like people, and there was this lady, and it was so nice to talk to her. So I'm gonna like, or it was just, she was someone I met for the first time, but we started talking. Obviously, it was not necessary for me to talk, but I just felt like, okay, I need to like talk to her. So if you ever feel the need, and sometimes it's just like it's awkward to just sit in silence, so you are ever in a situation and you want to like talk to the other person, so this is like the whole scenario. So first of all, we need to see the energy of that person. Energy of the other person is really important. So the first thing we do is greet the other person. So for example, I am sitting in this car or I'm in the bus, so the person sitting right next to me, I'm gonna say first of all अस्सलाम वालेकुम, ठीक है, क्योंकि this is how I greet. And the other person will respond वालेकुम अस्सलाम. Now it really depends on the way and the tone they have answered that. They could be doing something, they could be reading something, ठीक है. Greeting someone is important, ठीक है. Regardless the person is rude, is not in the mood to talk, whatever, greeting is important. And greeting someone makes मतलब कि even if you don't talk, फिर भी आपका एक nice connection बन जाता है, मतलब कि if you are greeting that person. Now here's the thing, sometimes the person is doing something else, or they're just not मतलब कि they're just looking on the other side, so they'll just say walaikum assalam and they'll keep doing their work. That means you cannot have a conversation with that person. They're busy in whatever they're doing, or they're just busy in their thoughts, or they just don't want to talk. And that is fair. First of all, इसमें अपनी कोई insult नहीं समझनी कि if you just said you greeted someone and they just replied back, but they didn't like said something else and you were like, okay, मेरी बेइज्जती होगी, इसमें कोई बेइज्जती की बात नहीं है, ठीक है ना. You just greeted and they replied. No one, मतलब कि they have to be a really bad person if they don't even reply to your greeting. तो फिर I'll say next time don't even greet them. Like, and if they are responding to that, so you're good. Like, just greeting someone is also fine. Do not regret that I came in with the mood of starting a conversation and they are just like not interested in it. It's okay. So greeting someone is really important. Now here's sometimes the other person will respond to the assalamu alaikum with walaikum assalam, and then they'll say how are you. Okay, this is a positive sign. If someone is asking how are you, that means that they want to know how are you, and they want to like just make the conversation more than just greeting. They want to ask you how you have been, which is a nice thing. Okay, now also it's a very like it always comes after the greeting, so मतलब we उसके आगे भी और बहुत सी layers हैं, लेकिन this is like the second step. So you'll say I am good, how are you. Now a lot of time someone would not say how are you, but you were there and they responded to that, and they didn't like started looking at some other direction. Like if someone is reading or doing something or just looking outside, वो आपका जवाब देके फौरन दूसरी तरफ देखना शुरू हो जाएंगे to tell, मतलब कि this is like the body language they'll express, that will tell you that they are not interested in continuing the conversation any further. But they responded that how are you, and they kept looking at you, ठीक है ना. So you need to like feel the body language. Body language explains a lot. So if they keep looking at you in the same direction with the same smile, with the same energy they responded, then you can say how are you. You can say it for yourself and they'll be like I am good. I hope now the next thing if they say I am good, or they're like oh it's been rough, obviously you expect them to say and how are you, okay? Or I hope they do that, and I hope if someone asks you in return also say कि I'm good, or also मत कि I'm not good, whatever. Yeah, it's been a rough morning. How are you? Okay, तो जो है ना, yes, so this is something that they should respond with or you should respond with. तो फिर you're like okay, अब ये भी हो गया, अब मैं अगली क्या मतलब कि जो है वो मैं अगली क्या बात करूँ या क्या बात पकड़ूँ. अब if you're meeting that person for the first time, there's a lot of things that you could ask. जैसे मैं जब कारपूल में थी तो I was like a little bit like कि okay, should I talk to her, should I not talk to her? So the other person herself asked के what you work in. Now this is the most like मुझे लगता है कि first मतलब कि मुझे लगता है कि okay, first we need to talk कि हम how are you से आगे बढ़ें कि ना बढ़ें. Okay, so sometimes आप किसी से, क्योंकि दिस इज़ लाइक द मोस्ट लाइक क्लासिक थिंग कि यू आस्क मतलब कि यू ग्रीट एंड यू आस्क समवन फॉर देयर हेल्थ एंड आप फिर यू माइंड योर ओन बिजनेस. यू आर लाइक कि ओके मतलब कि आई जस्ट मतलब कि ये ख़त्म हो गया. समवन हु जस्ट डोंट वांट टू टॉक एंड इज़ नॉट अ चैटी पर्सन वुड मतलब कि बी लाइक ओके आई डिड इट और अब I just want to like I want to be back in my own thoughts. I just don't want to chat now. So again, body language matters a lot. If they just go back, matlab you'll see if they look somewhere else or they start doing something else, they start looking at their phone, they're responding to someone else's text or they're scrolling, that is a sign they do not want to have a chat. But if they keep looking at you, then that means they want to have a chat with you. Okay, so if you're meeting that person for the first time or even it's not someone you meet oftenly, you can ask them the most basic thing that you can start off with, and it works every time, is to ask them what they're studying or what their job is, where they're working. और ये बहुत ना it's not just one question, इसमें बहुत चीज़ें आ जाती हैं इसमें. कभी if you're asking them what they're studying and there's, for example, say that I am studying data analysis, so there's like a lot of variety of things that could come into it. और ज़रूरी नहीं है कि आपकी और उनकी फील्ड मैच करती हो फिर ही आप कॉन्वर्सेशन कर सकते हैं. you can ask okay what university you're in. मेरे साथ कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि someone who is someone could reply you with I am actually in this university and it could be the same university as yours. So you just found the common point that we both have the same university. So we can talk about the university. Sometimes you have the same degree or even the same field, same industry or something, and you're like, okay, that's the common ground. We can talk about this. Okay. So, or sometimes they are in a field and they have someone or a company you previously worked in. तो आपको कहीं ना कहीं उसमें जो है ना वो कॉमन ग्राउंड ढूंढना पड़ता है. कभी कभी ये होता है कि वो किसी बंदे के ओके दिस इज अ पर्सन यू वर्किंग विद, ओ आई वर्क विद दैट पर्सन एज वेल, ये वो ठीक है. तो यू हैव टू फाइंड द कॉमन ग्राउंड. बट इफ यू कैन नॉट फाइंड द कॉमन ग्राउंड, देन जस्ट आस्क देम about the degree they are doing or the job they are doing. So for example, I am with someone and they're like, okay, I'm doing fashion designing. I don't know anything about fashion designing or textiling designing or med school, but I'll ask them how it is with someone who's doing if I met someone who's doing pharmacy, I heard your degrees for 5 years, how you feel about that. Or you can ask them about their university. That is also easy. अगर आप खुद किसी university में पढ़े हुए हैं तो you just know how it's like, so you can be like, okay, how's your university, how you feel about it, what are the requirements to get into it, ऐसे करके कुछ, are you satisfied with it, what were the other university you were looking to, what semester you're in, ठीक है. ऐसे करके you can even if you don't have a common ground, you can just start asking questions that you just feel like you're interested in asking. For me, I really like this approach that I do and I really 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 enjoy it. I kind of start interviewing people and I really love to do that. So I asked them okay, for example, I met someone and they were doing a film degree, a degree in film. So I asked them what's your favorite film industry. And I like asking people questions, and this was something that I feel like okay, I know a little bit knowledge about because I watch films, so I can ask her that and they can reply with something, and it could be industry I know, or I can just ask them for a recommendation. So I asked someone who is doing a film degree okay, what's your favorite film as a student of film, what's your favorite film industry of what country? And the person responded Korean industry. For me, I watch Korean shows, so it's interesting to it's it could be a good conversation, I could talk about it, she could talk about it. But if I don't know the industry, for example, she's like I really like Indonesian movies, so I can ask them okay, what is your favorite movie, and I recommend me some movie, I'll watch it. So you just need to I like interviewing people, and then I like asking them okay, recommend me something, like what's your favorite thing, what is the thing that you would do. So if someone is from mid school, so I'll ask them questions accordingly, that ke, okay, it's your degree is 5 years, did you do an internship, how it is like. If someone is doing engineering, I'll ask them ke, okay, Pakistan mein what are the industries, or क्या है. If someone is from design, so I'll ask them कि how's the design industry, how's this, मतलब कि how they are like, मतलब कि what you're doing, do you have Saturday ons. This is also how it is different, क्योंकि my sector is like more like corporate sector, तो what's the difference और ये सब कुछ. So you just need to like even if you don't know मतलब कि the world, मतलब कि you have no idea of the other person's world, you can just ask questions about their world and they would be interested to answer them, because who does not like to talk about themselves. Up, here's the thing, do not be afraid to admit that you don't know something. This is मतलब कि अगर you are not finding a common ground, मतलब कि someone has a completely different degree and you do not know a single thing about it, think of it as it's a good like learning opportunity for you. In this world we are not, मतलब कि we should not settle for just the profession we are doing और हमें उसी का पता लगता रहे ताकि हमें उससे हम profit off कर सकें. Sometimes to have a good conversation मतलब कि like this, or just to like have more wisdom or have more knowledge, it's nice to meet people you have no common ground with and you can just ask them and you can learn so much. So if you are just viewing it as something, if I talk to this person, I can ask question, I can learn about a new thing, then it could sound fun. It shouldn't be just like okay, I feel dumb क्योंकि I don't know anything this person does, तो मैं अब इससे बात कैसे करूँ. Try to learn something about it, and I think it could be a good opportunity क्योंकि it could give you more wisdom, it could give you like more knowledge, and at the same time मुझे लगता है कि अगर आप किसी से बात कर रहे हैं मतलब कि with time you will learn something and you can like it could just give you more knowledge and you can use those knowledge in the next time you meet someone else in an interview or in someone like with someone else you will meet. So with time, if you're learning something from a person or from a YouTube video, from a book, it could help you in your next interaction with someone. It could be a job interview. So there's always a very nice learning arc in whenever you meet new people and you talk to them and you have no common grounds with them, but at the same time they're telling them about their life and their world and you can learn something out of it. You can take a few things they have told you in you and it could help you with the next time you're interacting someone. It could help you with your next job interview. Maybe it could just increase your knowledge. Like there's nothing to lose in it. It always would add something in you. And obviously it's impossible for a person to know every single thing happening in this world. Obviously it is not possible. It could be possible, but even if I have this goal, so I cannot just achieve that from YouTube videos and books and articles. Sometimes you can gain those knowledge with having a conversation with someone else who's like living a different world as yours, like with whom you do not have a common ground with. So I don't think it's embarrassing if I'm meeting someone and I don't know anything they're doing. So I'm like, okay, I would look so dumb in front of that person. Obviously they know and they don't know what you are doing. So obviously you both specialize in your own different things and you have your own experience. So it would be nice for you to know a little bit about their experience as well, because then when next time you talk to someone else, you have those things in your mind that the other person told you and you can utilize those things, and it could just, this is how you gain wisdom and this is how you gain knowledge and this is how you grow and this is how you learn things and use them in your next experience. So then other than work and studying and profession, you can also just ask someone about their interest, about their hobbies, about the books they read, about the movies they watch, or like इंटरेस्ट हॉबीज़ में वो सब कुछ आ ही जाते हैं, तो वहाँ से भी यू कैन फाइंड अ कॉमन ग्राउंड. आई थिंक इट्स वेरी, मतलब मुझे लगता है कि इफ़ समवन वॉचेस कोरियन ड्रामास, इट्स वेरी नाइस, मतलब इट वुड बी सो इंटरेस्टिंग टू bond with them. You're like, okay, what's your favorite show, and you can maybe watch that show, or maybe it's already something you watched and you loved it. So मुझे लगता है that could develop like a nice friendship between both of you. I think with professional, मतलब obviously it's more learning. Like, and if you want the conversation to get more casual, so you can obviously ask them about their hobbies and books and movies, and try to find something that you feel like, okay, you do it too, or you can like talk about it. And if there's nothing, then you can just ask, okay, recommend me something like that you watch, and I'll like watch it. Like, if someone is watching a sport, for me it's a little, for me having a conversation about sport is always a little like is always a little like scary, because men are very, it's mostly men, and they're very passionate about sports, and they think the other person who does not know about sport is stupid. So I do not engage in such conversation. Most of my conversation are with women and I enjoy it so much. Like, and sometimes a lot of people want to like, are like, just have this interesting, like, they just eyes sparkle up when they're talking about the things they love. For example, my sister really loves F1, and even I don't know any single thing about it, she wants to talk about it. So I would just ask her random question, and she would like talk about it with such like happiness, and there would be, her eyes would be sparkling, and I would enjoy that so much. So sometimes मुझे लगता है कि even if you don't know anything about it, just ask the other person question. Like with books, a lot of people are not interested in reading books. Like, I like reading books. There's a lot of people जिनको बताऊँ कि, oh, I like reading books, and they're like कि they don't like books, and they just don't want to have a conversation beyond that. They're like, मुझे लगता है, for me, if I don't like reading books and someone else is like, oh, I really enjoy reading books, so I would be like, okay, what's your favorite book? And they'll be like, okay, this is my favorite book. And then I'll ask, what's the story? Like, if I don't want to read it, I'll either say, if I really want to impress that person, or if I really want to get into reading book, I'll be like, okay, I'll read that book. But if I don't want to, I'll just ask them, okay, what's the story? What inspires you in it? What's your favorite character? What's the story about it? So like, they can give you that because you don't mind spoilers, because you don't want to read it, and they'll just excitedly explain it, and you will listen to it, and that will make them happy, and you will just hear a new story. With मुझे लगता है कि a lot of people, when you're like, okay, I watch K-dramas, so I have seen a lot of like pattern with people who do not watch K-dramas. They're like, oh, do not talk about K-dramas. They don't watch K-dramas. Or someone is like, okay, I watched like this movie or this. So some people just are totally reject it. They don't even want to talk about it. So as far as मुझे लगता है with sports, it's always a little like intimidating for me to have a conversation about sports. But I don't want to be that person. Oh my God, do not talk about sports with me. I try to be, I'll get to that point as well where I'm like, do not do this in the conversation, और उसमें I'll explain the whole thing कि अगर कोई बंदा आपको they're talking in a way that you do not appreciate and it's making you feel dumb, then what are the things that you need to do. ठीक है, लेकिन जो है, I always, whenever I मुझे लगता है कि be just more accepting towards people if they're talking about the things or their interests that you personally do not enjoy. So you do not need to like मुझे लगता है कि just ask them questions about it, and they'll be so interested to talk about them because everyone wants to talk about the things they like. Now, since the past 3 years, this is something that I have noticed. There's a lot of people who are intimidated to talk to you because you might be senior to them, you might be at a higher position, you might look a little too cool to them, or they might be and you can tell when someone is, especially if they're like in university, they're junior than you are maybe just more popular, or there's just something about you that they're like, and it's not always a negative aura. Sometimes you are the most like positive person ever, but they're still like, they're like, okay, why do it this person would want to talk to me? I get intimidated talking to people as well who are like too cool, too nice, like, or I just or I am seeing them from afar since so long and a lot of people know them, so I'm just like, okay, why would this person want to talk to me, right? So they get intimidated. Now if you feel like if someone else is, it's your job to make them feel comfortable. And for me, मुझे लगता है from the past 2-3 years, I feel कि a lot of times conversation depends on me कि अगर मैं बात नहीं करूँगी तो other person would be too shy to talk even if they want to, because they'll be like कि this person just do not want to talk to me. So it's our job, if we are on that position, तो it's our job कि हम किसी को ऐसा feel मत कराएं, और we need to engage with those people, we need to ask them how they are. Even with like if I'm in an office and there's like this lady who helps us or cleans up stuff, तो मुझे लगता है कि whenever I go and ask us कि how is she and what she's doing, and I just ask like her, like I just have a nice conversation with her even for like 2-3 minutes, I feel she really smiles and she really enjoy it and she really like it, and that makes my heart so happy. Or also it just gives the other person the image that you are not an intimidating person, and it just makes some, मतलब कि you don't know कि आपका कौन सी चीज़ जो है वो अगले इंसान का दिन बना दे. और फिर मुझे याद है, since I was like greeting and having a conversation with that lady every single day, एक दिन my dress button broke off and she literally said कि okay मेरे पास सुई धागा पड़े मेरे बैग में, and she sewed the button for me, and I thought कि this is so sweet. तो मुझे लगता है कि having all these interaction with someone is so meaningful, क्योंकि आपको नहीं पता कि आपकी कौन सी बात किसी को अच्छी लग जाए, and it could make their day and it could make them so happy. And I think कि मैंने पहले भी अपने podcast में बहुत बार बोला हुआ है कि just smiling to someone, just opening a door for someone, or just saying you're in a lift and you're like okay you go first, मतलब कि regard में, without seeing कि वो अगला बंदा कौन है या पता नहीं I am more important than that person, I am more at a higher position या जो भी है, just giving the other person respect. और आप उनको you are the first person who is greeting them, would make them so happy and give a positive image of you for them. And all these things are also like good leadership skills. Like if you want to be a leader in a future, leader का मतलब ये नहीं है कि सिर्फ मुल्क का president. It could mean leadership in like in corporate, मतलब corporate चीज़ें भी, I don't know how to explain it. Or even मतलब कि if you're in a university, then मतलब कि it could give you, मतलब कि if you are interested in like being the head girl or a leader in your project, so it मतलब कि having a nice like conversation with people, with your teammates, with your group mates, does help in them choosing you as their leader, because they know that you would be a more approachable and more understandable person to work with. Do not matter if you are someone who look forward to meaningful conversation and you want to build your network and everything, then it is important. Just for me, obviously I like I have this podcast and I like talking to new people. Like it is something that I like doing it. So for me, I enjoy whenever I meet someone new to have like a conversation with them. I just dropped my pen, so if you heard a voice, that was that. Like, for me, I think I enjoy it making someone, a new person, comfortable around me, having a conversation with them and asking them questions about themselves. I think people enjoy that a lot. Like people like talking about themselves a lot, and they're like, okay, this person is not only talking to me, but they're also interested in what I am doing. That makes them feel special. मुझे लगता है कि sometimes obviously we want to feel special for ourselves as well, but sometimes we have to give the other person a moment as well. Like let them speak, let them talk about themselves, like let them talk about the things they love, and that would give a really good image of you to them. They would be like, okay, this person is such a nice listener, they ask me questions about myself and they let me speak, और मुझे इनसे बात करके मज़ा आता है. I feel like I can open up in front of them and I feel validated while talking to that person. और फिर उसके बाद they would also want to know more about you as well, and they would want to, and it just would like give off a nicer image, and it could make you someone memorable. Like they would, even if you don't meet that person puri zindagi phir, but it would they would remember you, and they would remember the time they spent with you. They remember the conversation you had with them. So it's so important, especially if you're meeting someone जो कि हमें लगता है कि थोड़ा सा इंटिमिडेटेड है हमसे, हम उनको कंफर्टेबल करें एंड लेट देम स्पीक अबाउट देम सेल्फ एंड गिव देम लाइक नाइस एडवाइस इन रिटर्न, स्पेशली इफ दे आर यंगर देन अस, ताकि दे कुड लाइक रिमेंबर अस पूरी time, and it could मतलब it's just nice, like it's just a nice thing to talk to someone, and after a while they tell you कि okay, I still remember the conversation we had, and you're like one of the most interesting people I met. Like it's such a nice compliment to have. Now sometimes you are around people who are at a higher position than you. Sometimes you're around people that they are at a higher position than you, and you are the one who's intimidated. But in those situations, especially in professional environment, in class, मतलब कि it's your teacher, it's very important कि मतलब कि if you पहले मुझे लगता है वही बात है कि you have to like do a little scanning. Does this person have an attitude? Does this person have a superiority complex? अगर ये सब चीज़ें उस इंसान में नहीं हैं, and you genuinely see कि this person is someone I want to have a conversation with that person, and I want to like I think I could learn something out of it. I think they could मतलब it would be nice to have a conversation with that person. Like even in professional life, there are people who are at a higher post than you, and you just मतलब sometimes it's not like okay, I need to have a good relation with them ताकि मेरी promotion हो जाए. Sometimes it's like I want to मतलब I want to know what they study, I want to take उनकी advice future में, या I want to explain कि मैं ये कर रही हूँ ताकि they could give me a better advice, and I want to learn from their experience. So you can just go and have a conversation with them, and ask them about the things that they are doing or how they did, or जब when they did, what were the struggles they faced, और ये सब चीज़ें ताकि you could like get the most out of the people, get the most out of them in university, in professional life, or even like you're just randomly meeting someone, there's a meetup and there's a woman that is older than you. तो आप मतलब कि you can just ask her कि okay, how do you manage this, or how do you do this, what's your profession, or how it is मतलब कि you're meeting a teacher, ठीक है, and you're like okay, how it is to like teach, or what's the school and how's the work pressure, or ये सब कुछ. So you can just ask these things that that could make the other person tell their experiences or their stories to you, or you can have a good conversation with them. It could develop a nice network between you and that person, or maybe आगे जाके you need some advice or you need some help, so you can go to that person and ask them. तो मुझे लगता है कि if you're seeing someone who is like more accomplished than you, मतलब who is not, I don't know if that's the right choice of word, but I hope you understand, like there's the CEO of the company, or there's someone who's at a higher position, or your teacher. So it's very important कि आप उनसे like, लेकिन वो conversation you cannot just jump into the casual ones, like in the limit, in the like profession and the area of study और वो सब कुछ है, you can like ask them advice, or you can like ask them to share their experience with you, because people love talking about themselves. इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि start में उनसे उनके बारे में पूछना is very like it's the best approach you can do, because people would want to share their experiences and the things they have achieved in life and the struggles they went through. You can learn from it, and the next time you need any advice, you can go to them and they would be more than happy to help you, because they know that you are coming to them because you have a regard for them, and you know that you value the experiences they shared, that you listened, you were interested to listen the things they went through and their experience, and now you want their valuable advice in your life decisions. So I hope that makes sense. तो घबराना नहीं है. मुझे लगता है कि if you are on the higher position, you need to like make the other person comfortable, and if there is a person who is at the higher position who do not have an attitude or superiority complex, ऐसे कोई problem नहीं है, तो you need to मतलब कि make yourself a little confident and just have this courage to talk to them, ताकि you don't know कि the other मतलब कि having this one conversation could literally be so inspirational or so life changing. और अगर आप किसी और से आप उस position पे हैं और कोई आपसे आके बात करना चाहता है, तो make sure you are having the conversation that could make you the most memorable person they ever met. Maybe not the most memorable, like in one of the most memorable and kindest person and genuine person they have ever met. For me, that is my goal, and I like being that because I do enjoy when someone tells que I really liked talking to you. I felt validated talking to you. Yeah, with you, I feel like I can open up and talk about the things I like, and I don't feel dumb or ridiculed or something. So like to be that person for people. So इस वजह से मुझे लगता है कि if someone else does as well, तो these are things that you can do to just have a nicer conversation with people. Now, there's this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I haven't read this book. I don't know the context of it. You can read it if you want. Like, I was watching a video just they kind of gave a summary of that book, and I really liked listening to that. Or usme they told some points where they told ke how to actually make people like you. Now you cannot make every single person like you, like you can be a likable person and a more approachable person, and I think it comes with having a good conversation with someone. So I wrote some points down that I resonated with, and then I'll explain how I relate to those points or how I use those points, because all of these points are the points that I was already using, and I was like, okay, I'm on the right path. So I wrote all of these points down to share these are the points, and I actually use them, and they actually help me in these way. So number 1, encourage other people to talk about themselves. I think I already, मुझे लगता है मैंने पिछले जो भी बातें कर रही हूँ उस पे I have highlighted this thing a lot. People love talking about themselves. I cannot, मतलब everyone wants to talk about themselves. Everyone wants to talk about their stories, the things they went through, their struggle, their accomplishment. There's nothing wrong about it. Their interest, their favorite show, their favorite movie, their favorite sport. Everyone wants to talk about themselves, and it's okay. If you're meeting someone for the first time, let them speak and encourage them speak. And one thing that adds the encouragement is asking them questions about it. ठीक है, तो मुझे लगता है कि it aligns with the point I made. So you should encourage people, and this is something I do. I love interviewing people. I genuinely love, even with this podcast, I just want to have people and interview them because it's just so interesting. It's just so interesting to hear what goes behind people's mind. Matlab, on this like surface, on the professional or like interest surface, and how they approach things and how they see it, and the things that they learned from all the years. They can share that, and you could learn that, and it's just a nice thing. Third, give sincere and honest appreciation. So if someone is telling them about the thing, about their job, or about the things they do, or about the degree they're doing, you should give a good, like, sincere and honest, like, appreciate them. Oh, you're working so hard. Oh, this is so incredible. This is so nice. And you should look honest with it. I have seen a lot of people complimenting the other person, but when you keep complimenting someone, it does not appear so genuine. मुझे लगता है कि yes, you should not over compliment someone, ताकि ये अगले बंदे को लगे कि ओके, मतलब कि अगला बंदा उस चीज़ की वैल्यू ना करे. लेकिन whenever someone is telling you about their story or what they do, so you should appreciate them and tell them कि it's incredible what they're doing, and it's fantastic, and it is somehow inspiring. This is something that you learned from them. So tell them, this tells them that they are valuable, and it's very important to make the other person feel important and not make the other person feel like what they're doing is not good enough. I have a lot of conversation with people जहाँ पे I'm just very excitedly telling के oh मैं ये किया या मैं ये करती हूँ, and the other person response is not that good, or that made me feel like something that I'm doing is not that valuable or not that special, and it just made me feel so bad. And since I have had this experience, I don't want anyone else to feel like that. So इस वजह से I make sure कि जब भी मैं किसी से बात कर रही हूँ, I tell them कि whatever they're doing is incredible, मतलब if it's not morally wrong. The next point is do not make the other person feel stupid. Do not try to be over smart or over efficient. Again, this is something that I relate to so much. I had a lot of conversation with people where again they make me feel like you're dumb, you're stupid. और इस वजह से मुझे लगता है कि first of all it's very important to have self confidence, and to like ask things in such a way, because when you're asking someone something, So obviously you don't know about it, but at the same time you should ask in a way that the other person feel like, okay, I would love to share my experience with this person, and not in a way the other person is like, this person do not know anything. Like, and it depends on the other person as well. They should not make you feel inferior, they should not make you feel dumb, and they should not make you feel stupid, and you should not act over efficient. Like, if other person is sharing something incredible that happened to them, which is for them was very mind-blowing, they're sharing that experience, you do not have to have a mediocre expression or tell them, oh, this is so usual, this is something that happened to me and it's so usual, it's not that important or interesting. That would make them feel so bad. If someone is telling about something so excitedly, let them have their moment. Do not be over efficient. Do not, agar aapse koi even in class or someone is excited about the project they made, and you should not make them feel like it's not that good or your project is better. Appreciate other people, tell them the work they're doing is nice so that it could motivate them to do better. Do not be a bitter person, and do not make other person feel bad. A lot of people do this and they don't even realize, or I don't know कि उन लोगों के साथ क्या करना चाहिए. आगे I'll talk about it in the don'ts कि क्या करना चाहिए. लेकिन जो है ना, if you're in that position or you do not know it is happening, just like try and put a more effort in just, अगर कोई बंदा अपने बारे में बात बता रहा है, do not make it about yourself. Let them have their moment, even though आपका उस चीज़ में एक्सपीरियंस है और बेहतर एक्सपीरियंस है. This it for you it could be harmless and you would be like, I want to share mine. Lekin let them have their moment. Just let them have their moment. You do not, sometimes you do something that looks a bit more over efficient. Like, if someone had this marks, you do not need to tell, okay, you got a gold medal in it. Like, let them have their moment. You do not have to tell about your achievement. Here, the next point is कि try to see things from the other person's point of view. This is very important, and this comes in the validation thing as well. अगर कोई बंदा कोई experience बता रहा है, you disagree with it और जो भी है, do not just be like, okay, this is wrong. Try to validate them, try to see where they are coming from, try to see how they are saying it, और वो किस चीज़ पे आए हैं, तो उनको जो है वो इस रिजल्ट, इस कंक्लूजन पे पहुंचे हैं. Put your opinion in a nicer way and tell okay, I see where you're coming from and this is what happened to me. तो that end पे आके जो भी चीज़ हो, जो भी argument या जो भी disagreement हो, it is on a nicer thing. And sometimes you are in control to just talk in a way कि अगले बंदे को बुरा मत लगे. And it's very important to see where the other person is coming from, and to see what they have challenged and faced, and और जिस चीज़ के बाद वो ऐसी बात कर रहे हैं. Here, fifth point, and this is very important, this is something I do very unintentionally, but then when I was watching this video, so I realized, okay, it's actually a good thing, and that is to smile. Make the other person feel you're happy to interact with them. I smile a lot. If you have seen me in real life, you would know I smile a lot. Whenever we are even in office, we are in the video call and we're in a meeting, I just my first thing I do is I smile, and people have told me that sometimes I don't know if there's anything bad with over smiling. Like, for me it's just it makes you appear as an approachable person, and it gives other person a good image of you, that you are approachable, you can talk to me, I am here to help you, and there's nothing scary in me. So I personally really smile. I think it's a really just a good thing. It sometimes just makes other person stay, just greet them with a smile, and they're okay, this person is happy to meet me. It makes them feel important, appreciated, valuable. You just meet someone and there's a smile that appears on your face, the other person would it could help the other person in feeling better as well. It could brighten someone else's day. So whenever you are talking to someone and it's not something very serious, so just smile and tell them I appreciate that I'm having this conversation with you and you are a valuable person. Now here's the don't list, and this is made by myself. This was not in the how to influence friends and win friends and influence people. These are the don'ts that I wrote down, because obviously I had a conversation with a lot of people, but sometimes those conversations did not turn out good, and these are the things that I learned from it, and now I avoid doing it. So, number one, people who don't give the energy back, they're not interested in you. Someone who is not giving you the energy back in in the conversation, you do not need to talk to them. Literally. अगर आप किसी से, and then someone who is not interested in you, अगर again we had this whole I told this whole thing कि interview people, ask them about themselves, ask them about the things they're doing. They should ask the things you are doing back. If they are not doing it, they keep talking about themselves. Obviously, everyone wants to talk about themselves, and it's not a bad thing. Like, and if they're so self-absorbed that whenever you talk to them, they're just talking about themselves and they do not ask you questions about yourself the way you are, then that person could not be a sincere friend to you. मतलब कि एक बार आप उनसे बात कर लो तो सही है, या फिर if you're in a professional capacity and the person being is your boss and you want to want their advice, and you, or if it's your teacher, मतलब कि if it's a mentor, then obviously you want to learn the most out of them, and you want to hear more about them. And if there's a person who is at the same who you talk to every single day, it's your friend, it's your class fellow, your colleague, but they just keep talking about themselves, then you do not need to entertain them in that. And if you do not feel like they're showing least interest in you, or whenever you talk about yourself, they just change the topic and they make it about themselves, you do not need to entertain that conversation. You do not want to be with that. You do not need to be try to have a conversation with that person. It is not important. A part of having a good conversation with someone is that they make you feel valuable back. आपको तभी उस conversation का मजा आएगा जब आपको भी वो validation और वो appreciation और वो value उस conversation में मिलेगी, क्योंकि it's a thing from both sides. It's not just just completely just does not depend on you. So if someone just keeps talking about themselves, their job, their study, their profession, or whatever they have interest in, or their experiences, and you are like, okay, I want that person to talk to me as well, तो फिर talk to me about myself, ask me about myself as well, and they do not, then you just need to get away from that person. I have had a conversation with a lot of people who just want to talk about themselves, और वो अपनी ही आपकी बात even if you are talking about yourself, वो आपकी बात काट देते हैं बीच में से, and they just want to talk about themselves. Or those people are called self-centered and self-absorbed, and you do not need to entertain those people, and ask questions about and interview them or ask them so many questions, because they're not giving you that energy back. It's okay अगर आपने एक conversation उनसे की और वो अच्छी नहीं रही, learn from it and move on. ठीक है. Number 2, people who drain you. Sometimes you have conversation with a person और उनकी बातें सुन के you're just like, oh my god, you do not feel good, you feel sad, you feel more bad. You do not need to engage in a conversation with those people. Yeah, that's it. Sometimes they could talk about the things that could make you uncomfortable, and you're like, I don't need this information. A lot of information is not good information, and it could drain you, and it could not be knowledgeable to you or give you any wisdom or is any good to you. And if the person is talking like that and you try to change topic and they're just not doing it, and overall your personality don't match, there's nothing good that comes out of that conversation, then you do not need to engage in those conversation as well. Do not entertain that person. Do not be a part of that conversation that drains you. Number 3, people who share too many personal details. Now, here's the thing. Now, we talked the whole thing, how to start something from zero, and we talked about how you can talk to people. So, you could notice I just talked about 4 things. Ek to someone's, the things they are professionally doing, the things they're studying, or their hobbies, their favorite show, their favorite book, things like that. These are very surface level conversations. You do not need to go this deep in a deeper level conversation in your first interaction with someone. And if someone does, I don't think it's a good thing, or if it's a green flag. मुझे लगता है कि आपकी किसी से भी आप मिलो, आप क्लास में सबसे किसी से पहली बार मिलो, even if you're meeting your best friend, that your future best friend for the first time, the first conversation you should have with them should be about these things. If someone comes to you and you're meeting this person for the first time, you just got to know their name, and they just keep telling their personal details, the things that happened to them, मतलब कि it could be traumatic things, but they, मतलब I don't think it's appropriate to tell those things to someone you are meeting for the first time, unless it's your therapist. Okay, if someone is meeting you for the first time and they're telling you, okay, I used to do this, or मतलब कि I have heard people and I have met people जो आपसे पहली बार मिलते हैं, they just share weird experiences with you about their past relationship or their relationship with their parents or siblings or their past friendships and all. But again, you're just meeting that person for the first time. It's not a good thing. I think it's a red flag. They can talk like that to anyone, and I think mostly they do that because they need sympathy. आप obviously आप किसी इंसान को किसी level तक जानते हो and then they open up. This is more a nicer way, and I think this is more a normal way to do it. For even us, we need to like be careful to not share our personal things to the person we just met, and if someone else is, we do not need to entertain that person. That person will drain you, and it's just not good. मतलब कि शुरू की चीज़ें, मतलब yes, you want to have a deeper connection with someone, लेकिन आपकी first interaction would always be about the things that are more on the surface level. We do not need to go that deep, and we do not need to open up this much to the person we met for the first time, like, or especially if you are not like accepting towards that conversation. Like I would not allow someone, yeah, I would personally not go and tell like my deepest darkest secret, or the things that मतलब my any trauma that I have to the person I just met. तो मुझे लगता है कि it's not a good thing. I personally feel that, but I would love to know what you guys think about it. For me, मुझे लगता है कि it never turns out good. मैं जब भी किसी ऐसे इंसान से मिली हूँ, जिससे मिलते साथ they just kept sharing, and I just don't know what to see. Most of the time I just go back and it's just not a good conversation for me, and it drains me, and it's just awkward for me and uncomfortable for me to meet this person for the first time, and they're just telling you the details you don't want to know, and you are not, you don't even know that person to know to have any kind of like sympathy or to validate them or to make them feel better. So it's, even if it's a friendship and the person being is the person, you know, you could be, you can grow a really good friendship, but still give it your friendship sometimes. और फिर जब आप उस पोजीशन पे पहुंचो तो आप जाके अपनी ये चीज़ें बताओ. मुझे लगता है कि also these things are also like very, मतलब you are being you should not be vulnerable in front of every single person, especially the people you just met for first time. So you need to first see कि if it's the person I want to be vulnerable with, और अगर कोई और आपसे पहली बार मिलके आपसे ऐसी बातें कर रहे हैं, sometimes you are like, okay, maybe they liked my company this much कि they are willing to share these things with me. There are a lot of people who would tell कि I don't say that to anyone, you're the only person I'm sharing that with. Most of the times it's people of opposite gender. Do not trust them, ठीक है? I would just say that, like, just that's not how a normal conversation happens. Like, it takes time, and it takes a lot of trust, and a lot of like, it takes a lot of work to go in the stage where you can share these things with someone. So if someone is sharing these things to you in the first interaction ever, it's not a good sign, I feel like. Okay, number 3, do not talk to men after 11 p.m. I 11 p.m, like whatever country you're living in, not मेरी country और उसको convert अपने country में, just do not talk to men after 11 p.m. It never turns out good. It's not good. Do not do it. I am saying this and you should believe me if you want to. मतलब मुझे लगता है कि everyone who have experience in this would agree with me. I have always regretted, and so I swear कि I have stopped doing it, and I just मतलब कि if there's something that like I could tell people, this is that. मुझे लगता है कभी-कभी you have to maybe experience that to know कि why I shouldn't do it. if that's something that मतलब this is an advice that I would do. Do not talk to men after 11 p.m. Do not talk, especially if you're a girl. Like, if you're a man yourself, like, yeah, do whatever. Like, and if you're a girl or the person, do not talk to people of of the people that are not as same gender of you after 11 p.m. There's just something negative about it. There's a lot of things that are being said that are not good, and sometimes you do not know how to respond to them, and it's just weird and awkward, and just do not do it. And I think it's like a lot of people have started emphasizing about that on social media as well. So like, take this advice from me and do not do it. Okay, lastly, someone with superiority complex. We already talked about it. Someone who is being unreasonable, have fuzul ka attitude and superiority complex, are only interested in talking about themselves and their achievement and the things they achieved, or someone who is just privileged and just do not and are tone deaf and do not know any idea of any things. Do not talk to them. They'll उनसे बहस करने का कोई फायदा नहीं है. The best way is, or someone who's a narcissist, like, do not talk to them. The best way is to ignore them, and it would be the worst. मतलब कि instead of arguing, the worst thing that could happen to a person is that there's no one who is interested in their talks. Instead of arguing and confronting and picking a fight, sometimes the best way is to ignore, and that would be a better sign for them that no one is literally interested to talk to you or to respond to you. Another thing is that whenever you are in a conversation, there could be and there would be a point you could disagree a person with, or the other person would disagree with you. We should learn how to take disagreements and constructive criticism and to accept other people's point of view without picking a fight with them. ठीक है? और अगले इंसान के लिए भी ज़रूरी है. We should not fight about these little things. Everyone is coming from a different place. Everyone has a different ideology. Obviously, it should not be something morally wrong. Again, if it's something morally wrong and they have a disturbing opinion about something, लेकिन people's opinion about politics, about anything, anything, I cannot think of an example, should be accepted by you, and you should give your own opinion, and you should respect each other, and you should create an environment जहाँ पे अगले बंदे could feel safe to give their opinion. तो मुझे लगता है कि you could have a nicer conversation. Again, you could learn even with disagreement, and even with like a nicer argument. With nicer argument, I mean polite argument. Argument in a way where you're just putting up your point and accepting others. You can learn something. You can learn why this person have this opinion, what made them have this opinion, और वो कहाँ से आए हैं. Sometimes you end up agreeing with them, or sometimes they end up agreeing with you. इस वजह से मुझे लगता है it's very important to set a softer tone while talking about these things. But there's nothing bad in disagreeing with someone in anything. It would not make you guys enemies of each other, and we should like normalize disagreeing with someone else, and without the thing affecting the friendship. But it should not be something that is like morally wrong, and something that is like disturbing, and something that should not be something the other person should support. That's it for this podcast. I hope I really changed the topic. I really changed the thing. Someone could be expecting, okay, she'll add something else, but my notes ended, and that is it for the podcast. I think I covered every single point that I had written. I did, because they were written in front of me, but I think I discussed every single scenario that was in my head, and I'm so interested to know if you guys liked it or not, if there was something any new for you to learn about it or not. And I'll see you guys next week, next Monday. To be honest, I'm kind of like okay, here's the thing. I'm indecisive, and I feel like maybe I should change the day of my podcast from Monday to Friday. Because I think I know I gave a whole explanation in the last podcast how my podcast is a Monday podcast, but now I'm like, okay, maybe it's a Friday podcast. But I want to know what day people would prefer listening to it. So I want to put it on that day. So if you're listening to this, please tell me on Instagram what day would you like the podcast to come. And I'll also put a poll on my story so you can like maybe vote on that as well. And I'll see you guys on that day, whatever day wins. And yeah, see you guys soon. I thank you for listening to the podcast. And if you I can speak.